Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a good old Battleground Blitz tier list. Before we get started with this video, if you are interested in carries or coaching, make sure to PM me down below on my personal Discord. I am going to be doing a Patreon. It's going to have updated guides, really everything that you could want or what you guys ask me for. It's going to be up there. It's also going to be on YouTube, but there will be certain things that are going to be getting uploaded earlier, or maybe even just some things just flat out will be only on the Patreon. So it's not up yet, but just keep that in mind if you're looking to support the channel. That's going to be a way you can benefit off of it. But let's get on with the video. So today we're going to be talking about the one and only spec, Affliction Warlocks. Affliction Warlocks doing really good in every category mainly. It's kind of hard where to put it because they're just really good, especially in Blitz. Now there is certain situations to where it's not as good, so I'd say it's probably A or S. I'm not really sure where else I would put it, honestly. I think it's A. The only reason I think it's A is it is a caster, so you're gonna have a little bit of a disadvantage not being able to stealth and not being able to hit off carts and stuff. Anything that can't hit off carts and do a ton of damage is gonna be okay, but it's it's gonna have its flaws. So we'll put it at high A for now. This may be low S, so keep that in mind. Next fight that we're gonna be going over is gonna be Demon Warlock. The only time I see Demon Warlock being viable is it sitting a base like a hunter, and even then you'd just rather have a hunter. So it's gonna be by far the worst. Or I'll put it just B tier. I'm not gonna put anything that low. Yeah, so it's B tier. It's still, you can make it work because it's Blitz, but it's not gonna be very good. We have Destro Warlock, which is gonna be behind Affliction Warlock. You're getting fat bolts off. You're actually able to play a lot of the game, and it's just having that consistency in the burst. It's just really good in team fights. You're also having a port that you put on the ground. You can get everybody out of the cart and just teleport them away. And if you got a root or something, or even like infernals, you're getting a really good setup for you to easily get it. So I think Destro is actually pretty good as well. Next one is going to be DK. Unholy DK, it's probably going to be A tier. I'd say it's better than Destro, but worse than Affliction Warlock. Unholy DK is that spec that just does a lot of damage. It's meant for grips. Like you're just gripping somebody in, doing damage, and you're cleaving everything. It's good, but it's bad. You would want a DK on any type of team fight, and that's pretty much all there would be useful for. So we have Frost DK. Frost DK, I'd say, is again not viable. It's not something I would want on my team. It's too reliant off a burst, and obviously, it's just gonna get peeled like the moment it clicks anything. Sure, they might have really good burst, but it's not gonna be that good. And Blitz. So next one, I had to turn that thing off. Next up, we're gonna be up with is Blood DK. Blood DK. I'd say honestly, Blood DK is probably B tier. And that's pretty much that. I think it's still viable to play Blood DK, but it's not going to be that good. And this is for tanking only. So, honestly, I think, like, maybe C, honestly. Next is going to be Warrior. Arms Warrior is kind of weird. It got a huge buff now. It's definitely up there with Affliction Warlock now, especially after the buffs. But again, it's on Blitz. Sure, you might have really good team fight, but a lot of classes that don't have stealth and they can't do multiple things, or they don't have just excessively OP CC and stuff like that to benefit their team, it usually isn't going to be S tier. It's going to be really good, but it's just not, I don't think it's going to be S tier. Well, these might change though, especially Affliction, depending on what I put at S. But for now, I think these are more the high end of the list, other than DK and Destro. Next one is going to be Fury Warrior, which is going to be terrible. I'd say honestly Frost DK is better, but Fury Warrior kind of just blows. It hasn't been good, and I've never even seen a Blitz Fury Warrior in a long time. The last time I saw them was about before the nerf. So, and then we have Tank Warrior. This is going to be garbage. I wouldn't even bother. Next is going to be Druid. So Tank Druid is going to be C tier. I think it's one of the better tanks if you were to tank. Obviously, healer flag carrying is the meta now and stuff like that. So you're not really going to see tanks that often. But if you are planning to play a tank, you have a few options that might work out for you. And I think Druid's one of them just because of its capabilities to kite and run across the map. We're going to have Feral Druid, which is going to be S tier, even though um, it's just really good in every category. It's basically a sub rogue. It's good at hitting bases. It's good at doing a ton of team fight damage. It has CC. You get the full package with Feral Druid, and you want one of these guys on your team almost 90% of the time, especially if you don't get a rogue. Boomy. After the buffs and everything, it's probably going to be pretty high. I'd say it's better than Arms Warrior now. It's going to have a ton of AoE, a ton of CC, and I would not see why it wouldn't have just immense AoE damage. And then obviously it has the capabilities to hit bases, so you're going to start seeing a lot more boomies most likely. The only reason I'm not putting it at S tier is I haven't really seen a lot of them lately, and they just got buffed, so, we'll see how that ends up going. Next mech is going to be Mage. So Frost Mage is kind of a weird one. And honestly, if I had to put Frost Mage somewhere, and honestly, May Affliction will go here, and then Frost Mage will put it there. I think Frost Mage is still really good, and maybe Warrior in front of both. So yeah, I think Frost Mage is really good with his damage. Now, the one problem I've seen with it is it's really just not that good in general right now. It does okay damage and burst damage, but like all burst damage, it just does nothing. Its damage just feels meh. It's literally there just to ice block the people to and then just kill. I'd still say it's really good and it's definitely a part of the meta, but you won't see a ton of them, most likely. Fire Mage, it's gonna be pretty bad. Honestly, if I had to put Fire Mage somewhere, I'd say it's probably the worst spec right now in Blitz. So, and I'm not saying tank is better than Frost DK. This is just the tank categories. I don't rate the tanks based off of DPS. Keep that in mind. So, that's pretty much that. Arcane Mage is actually doing pretty well. I'd say Arcane Mage is better than Frost Mage right now. And maybe even better than Fire or Arms Warrior. They are doing a pretty good amount of damage, and they're not looking that bad. And Blitz-wise, they have the AoE damage, they have the CC, they can pretty much do everything, and I don't think they're in a terrible spot in Blitz. But I think they're one of the better specs in Blitz. Maybe it can be. I'll probably put it behind Frostmate. No, it's kind of hard to put this somewhere because they're so evenly out. We'll just keep it there for now. And yeah, I think that's good. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Paladin. HBO, it's going to be pretty bad in Blitz. You would think that it'd be really good, but it's just not. Yeah, it's just not that good. You would rather have a Perez Evoker or a Mistweaver or even a Disc Priest, not really an HPO or anything else. And that's kind of where that goes to. Protection Pally, honestly, with how they're doing now, I would say they're better than uh, Druid Tank. They have a ton of healing, and overall they just seem a lot better. But obviously we're talking about tanks, so I think this might look better here. I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation. So, again, I wouldn't advise playing a tank because this is literally, they're all bad. Like, none of these are good in splits, but they're viable. They're playable, but that's all there is to it. So, do with what you will with that. Next spec we're going to be going over is going to be Ret Paladin. Ret Pallies are doing not that good either. I would say they're probably behind Unholy DKs, but in front of Destro Warlock since, we don't really see Destro as much. I still think Red does a ton of burst damage, but, that's pretty much all there is to it. So, they're still viable, they're still pretty good, but that's really all there is. Next spec we have going is Monk. Windwalker is going to be not that good. Again, burst specs like these without stealth and they don't have the inabilities to, cap bases and stuff. They're not going to be that good in Blitz because Blitz is a heavy hitter type thing. You either do a ton of damage consistent wise or you hit bases. You have to have one of the two. Windwalker has a good burst damage. It doesn't really have good consistency. After its burst, it's kind of useless. But I'd still say it's one of the better. It's still viable. It's still pretty good. It's just only good when you face other bad things, because Windwalker will just die instantly. But that's unfortunate. You could probably make it work for hitting like flag mats. Like if a guy has a lot of stacks and you just one shot him, could be great. But overall, I don't think it's that. I rarely run into him. Next one, Mistweaver, easily is gonna be S tier. Um, for flag carrying purposes, I think Evoker actually is better now. I don't know if I think Mistweaver got a nerf for their mobility, but even if it's gotten nerfed, their healing overall can literally output any other class in the game. So there's no reason you shouldn't be playing Mistweaver. It looks fun. You can port with the flag, which is an automatic advantage to you on certain maps, especially if you know how to do it. Because by the time they get up to you, you just keep leapfrogging until eventually they can't catch you, or like a rogue gets in front of you and just waits up top. But Mistweaver is really good. I definitely advise it. Next one, we got Brewmaster, which is going to be trash. I'd probably say it's better than Arms, or better than Prot, but that's about it. Next, we have Hunter. BM Hunter, mainly is good for sitting bases, and they're really strong at sitting bases, because not only do they have a lot of burst, but they're just doing pretty good overall, it looks like. And I'd honestly say it's probably, for just because it's sitting capabilities, I would say it's probably here. I think Arms Warrior easily just does out damages almost any spec if in team fight. Like now that the buffs, they're just gonna be doing the most cleave. Again, BM is only that high because it can sit a base better than almost any other class in the game. You can't sap cap them. You can't bomb cap because you already have your pets there. You just have a lot of things to stop people from capping. So somebody can't just smoke stuff, just do something and be like, oh, well, I can't touch him. No, you have two pets always on the flag, and you can be 100 yards away and you'll be chilling. So BM's definitely not a bad choice to play for playing Blitz. And then we have MM Hunter, which surprisingly, if I had to put MM Hunter somewhere on this list, it would probably be in front of Destro. Maybe not. So it's kind of weird how you'd put MM Hunter. So on the Lighthouse map, this guy would be the guy sitting on a Warsong on a flag map. You would send the MM to hit a base, or you'd send the MM to the EFC, the enemy flag carrier. So that's the only reason I think it's actually viable. It can do everything. It can sit bases. It has the CC potential to, stealth, go get a flag. It just has everything. Now I wouldn't say it's that great, but it's definitely A tier. It's good enough to be viable. Survival Hunter, not bad in team fight. You have CC, and you can also sit a base. However, your burst isn't as strong as MM or BM. You have consistency, and your burst is pretty good when you have people stacked. But like, you want the most damage as fast as possible. And Survival Hunter is kind of just not it. So, I would probably put it probably behind Windwalker. Maybe in front, just because it can have the It's basically it can act like a sub rogue, and that's really the only reason it's playable, I guess you could say. I still think these are all really bad though, and so earn Blitz, even though they're good in everything else. Next one that we're gonna be going over is gonna be Outlaw Rogue. So Outlaw, right now after the buffs, it's good in everything. Now, there is a problem I've seen with it is its damage capabilities aren't the greatest, but again, it's Blitz, and you don't need flat out damage to kill, especially when you're already doing pretty good damage. As long as you do just enough damage to be able to kill a person with all your cooldowns, that means you're good on a flag map. And then obviously with having grapples, you have multiple of them, you're getting across the map real quick. If you're having a good time as Outlaw Rogue right now. Even though you won't really see much of these guys, they're good, I trust me. Next one is going to be Sub Rogue. Sub Rogue is going to be really good as well, honestly. I would say it's even better because you get Shadowy Duel. And obviously you have to know how to play Sub Rogue, and you got to know things like when to do certain things. But you have so much CC that any base you hit pretty much, if they're not double sitting it, you're going to get. Because you're just going to you're either going to cheap shot them, do your full rotation, and they have to trinket it, or you just they come out, you just do that same thing, they trinket, you blind, easy cap. Or you can just gouge kidney on your blades, and they'll have to trinket. There's so much variations of things you can do to CC that all rogue specs are viable. And then we have Assassination. Again, all three rogue specs, and honestly, I would probably say Assass is better because it's really good in teamfight. So yeah, all three rogue specs are insane Blitz. They're really broken, and it's met around stealthies, so it's not a surprise that these are really good because they're meant to be good at that specific thing, and that just happens to be what it is. Next one we're gonna be going over is gonna be DH tank, which is gonna be honestly, if I had to put it somewhere, one of the best. I think it's really quick now, and it's not bad. I think all tank specs are terrible, to be honest. So, honestly, if I had to put the only tank I've ever saw is a Blood DK, and they actually did pretty good. Next one, DH. Is going to be semi-okay, but at the same time, not really. Now, you do benefit with the eyeball to find rogues and stuff like that, but you're going to get stomped, and you might have really good AoE, but like you're just not going to feel as good. Like if you go hit an EFC, you're not doing anything by yourself. And these type of classes that are burst reliant right now, that's just how it goes. So I don't think it's very good. I'd say it's one of the better B tiers, only due to the fact that it can see the rogues and stuff, but otherwise than that, they're kind of just meh. They're not very good. Next is going to be SP. So after all the nerfs and everything, they just work so well in Blitz, and they're definitely not better than Affliction Warlock. They're definitely not better than Feral Druid. They're probably right here. They're probably at the low end of S tier. I think Rogue Specs just beat them because it's meant to beat them. But yeah, SP is still doing unhealable damage even after the nerf. They're still pumping. So they're either low S or probably like, if I had to put it somewhere, high A, something like that. I still think they're insane. They're basically Affliction Warlocks, and they work so well with all the meta that they just go goaded. So we'll see where we put that in the future. For now, I'll keep it there. Next is going to be Dev Evoker. So Dev Evoker does a ton of burst. I would say it's kind of in the spot of MM and Ret. So it has really good burst damage in teamfight, and especially when you hit flag carriers. But it's not really going to be hitting a base. It doesn't really have stealth, so they're easy going to see you. You're kind of just a one-hit wonder. You just click your burst, and then you're just ceasing, and then just knocking when you can, stuff like that. I still think it's viable because it does insane burst damage, but and it has really good CC to a point. But I wouldn't say it's high A or anything. It's not like an SP that has consistency. It's just like a burst. It's a sub rogue caster pretty much. Next one is going to be Enhancement Shaman, which isn't going to be very good. Again, I would probably put it a little bit ahead of DH just because it does do an insane amount of burst. So it might be good on EFC maps. Its CC sucks other than Hex, but for EFC maps specifically, it still can work out. I still think Windwalker and Server better overall because they're having damage, a lot more damage than what an Enhance or these other classes would have overall. So, not bad at all, but who knows. Now we have AUG. AUG is kind of a weird spec because I see it being okay. I'd probably put it again, maybe. Yeah, no, I don't see it being. I don't see a support class being that good, and I'd probably put it behind Fire Mage. Yeah, I just tried to rethink it. I was like, yeah, they're not. They're definitely like the best players can play them, but that can be any class. I'm saying what's good and bad. These classes down here are bad. Like you're not really gonna see a lot of these guys, and even at 2500, I've never saw a single one of these specs before, other than like maybe a DH once and a Windwalker once. But that's pretty much that. Ellie, Mental Shaman. After the nerfs, it's still doing pretty good, I think. Again, it's not gonna be as strong as Boomy and the new Mage specs, I don't think. So maybe this looks better. Something like that. I still think it does a lot of burst damage. It has a lot of consistency. It's actually not too bad at sending bases with. However, it's not the best, obviously, but I think it's better than Mage because it has consistency versus Mage. It's like a one-hit wonder. I feel like Ellie, if they have flame shocks and everybody, they're pumping an entire team. So I still think they're viable. I think Boomy's better because it can, it's basically a rogue, and any class that can stealth throughout the map and hit bases like, rogues and druids can, they're gonna be higher up on this list. But just for now, I don't know how strong they are right now in Blitz, but I know to an extent that there's a good amount of them right now. So we'll see. You guys can let me know what you think about that. Next one we got is gonna be Resto Druid. It's gonna be trash. I'd say it's worse than HPAL. Um, it doesn't have really AoE healing, and its hots just get purged in 2 globals. On top of you getting pretty, dookie heals, you just die. So anybody who faces the Resto Druid, you always want to go for the Resto Druid because he's not healing that damage. So yeah, Resto Druid's not very good right now. Next, we have Resto Sham. Resto Sham, also a not really good spec at all. Sure, it might have okay healing, AoE wise, and maybe it can be viable, which we'll put it here so we can say it's viable. But that's all there is to it. Evoker is going to be your second. Actually, now it's probably going to be. I'm going to put it as second just because I think Mistweaver is still really good with port flag carrying. But overall, these two are going to be your by far the best healers. It's probably why you see Mistweaver and Prez almost every single game. And that's pretty much that. Holy Priest is going to be the worst of the worst healer. Obviously, no AoE healing at all. And its healing is all basic. It's not even good healing. So, yeah, Holy Priest pretty down in the count. And honestly, I'll put HPAL at A tier just because it's how really good it is right now, and it's actually you're able to heal. It's just not that good. And then we have Disc Priest, which is going to be your third and final class of the night here, or technically day because it's morning. So Mistweaver, Evoker, Disc Priest are your top 3 healers that you probably will see only after like a certain amount of rating. I'm gonna see if I want to switch anything before we end the video here. So an Arcane Mage is a hard spec to go with a lot of the times. And honestly, I kind of want to put it behind Ret. It's kind of for Arcane Mage is kind of just a one-hit wonder. Same thing with Evoker. And Hunter, I'd probably say it's worse. I think Hunter is just trash. Actually, no, I'd say it's okay, I guess. And then Arms Warrior, SP is better than Arms, which yes, I think I would agree with. Just because SP has AoE massive damage, it doesn't have to really go in like a Warrior has to. BM's probably better than Arms. Boomy's probably better than Arms. And I think it's right here, honestly. This might look a little bit better. And maybe it's something like this. Just because after the nerf. So this is my tier list, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm just trying to check over something and see if I can't find a better solution for some of these. Survival Hunter, I'd say honestly it's viable enough. Windwalker, I'd say it's also viable enough too. Enhancement Shaman. Enhancement Shaman. I think it's viable to say it being viable, honestly. I've seen a good amount of these guys at high rating. If I had to put it somewhere though, it'd probably be right here. Okay, that's all I'm putting at A tier. This is low A, ladies and gentlemen. So pretty much past this line here, or this line, in the A tier, they're low tier. So Unholy DK, Ret Paladin, Arcane, Evoker, Hunter, Destro, Windwalker, Enhance, and Survivability are all low A, which means they're good in certain situations, but otherwise they're not that good. Anything above that is you're gonna see a good amount of these guys. So you'll see a good amount of, Boomies, Frost Mage, Ellies, Rogues, Affliction Warlocks, Feral Druids, Shadow Priests. You may see occasional Shamans and H-Pals, but these are going to be your main healers that you're going to be seeing. So, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and we will have rogue content coming out. Let me know how you guys feel about the Patreon, because if you guys actually want that, and you want early access to guides and, a bunch of rogues, just a bunch of classes that you guys might want, we might start making that. I might just start doing it, but you guys will have to let me know.